It's down in the den, so go tell a friend. The best podcast on earth's about to begin. We got jokes and news and movie reviews. After Dark NC-17 with the crew. Interviews with the best artists around. So like, comment, subscribe. The show's starting right now. Let's go. Like, comment, subscribe. The show's starting right now. So like, comment, subscribe. The show's starting right now. Let's go. Like, comment, subscribe. The show's starting right now. Welcome back, friends of the Den. It's your boy Mars, aka Marlon Beardo, the bearded weirdo, the Stellarosa Casanova, the creator of culture, and the Should Knight of this podcast game. And we are back with another phenomenal episode with another phenomenal guest. We're batting 1,000. This gentleman is a artist. He is a organizer. He is a podcaster like myself. He is full of positivity, talent, and I am happy to present it to the friends of the Dens, the immaculate Etano. Brother, how you doing today? Welcome to the
I like that intro. I like that intro, man. Hey, you do your thing, the Suge Knight of this podcast thing. I like that.
Do a little bit, do my thing. So I appreciate it, man. Yeah, you get a good intro, the rest of the interview is gonna slide through, in my experience anyway.
That's true. I agree with the same thing.
You got to make people feel warm, and you know you're in the field, so you understand. So we begin every single episode the same way, same question for the last 6 years. I grew up loving two things: music and comic books. And one thing that I noticed, my favorite superheroes and bad guys, they always had an awesome origin story. When I started talking to creatives, I noticed, so do creatives. We are the superheroes of the real world. So I ask you, Etano, brother, what is your origin story? What made you decide that this is the path for me? Because the path of an artist, they don't call it, a starving artist for anything. It can be rough sometimes. It's a lot of struggle, a lot of obstacles in the field. So being a warrior and bringing creativity and bringing light to the world is a challenge. So what made you accept that challenge? What is your origin story?
For me, it goes back. I mean, there's this. You know what? There's the story of how I got into rap, and then there's the story of how I became an artist, and they're not the same exact story.
I want them both.
All right. So my story as an artist really goes back to childhood. It goes all the way back for me. I was always around music. My mother sung in the choir. At one point, I was in the children's choir, and I always had this attraction to presentations and shows. So when they would have plays and stuff at the school, I was always mesmerized because for me, just seeing people organize it and put it together and people actually remember lines, that was so amazing to me because how do you do it?
Right.
And, I grew up in small town, North Carolina. Rose Hill, North Carolina is where I originally grew up. Moved to all over Duplin County, on Wallace, Green Evers, which is really all knit in this same, pretty much area. And grew up, around my family. Everybody lived in great grandma's house. And so that was my background and introduction into music and just life in general. And I always had this thing about wanting to make sure that I told my story. I was the narrator of my narrative. And I looked up to people like, man, the list really goes on, but I looked up to people like Malcolm X, who, told their story. Martin Luther King, who we saw he told his story. But then going as far as Tupac Shakur, that is like growing up, that was my all-time favorite artist, period. But then I got into other people like Nirvana, Biggie Smalls, Nas, um, different talents that drew me into just sound. And so I went from, listening to, shoot, I can't even forget this part. I grew up listening to techno too, riding with my cousin in his Pontiac. He's speeding up the streets of Wilmington and listening to techno and what was early forms of EDM back then. Really getting into sound like that until finally I started writing my own raps when I was about 13. I was in the 8th grade and sitting in music class, took a half a sheet of paper and just wrote my own rap. and it was not good.
My
But
first time for good. Not a
and,
problem.
and the way that I got deeper into it as I was listening to, guys like Tupac, Big L, Big Pun, I would write the song lyrics to their songs and then start changing the words until I started, doing this fast rapping, speed rap thing with my boys, to trying to freestyle, and then just I stuck with it. It was my way to tell my story and be free and not have someone tell me how my story should sound, what it should look like, what was proper in it. I mean, not all the words were clean, but that's how I felt. I was putting my frustrations on the paper, and I got in trouble a few times for it. I fought for my right to be an artist, and I learned how to play the saxophone, learned how to play the recorder. Uh, Always looked into different genres of music, and told myself when I got to high school, man, I'm gonna be. And I know this is not necessarily the greatest thing to say now, but God bless the brother too. I was like, I'm gonna be the next P. Diddy. Yeah.
I
I
mean,
didn't know what that meant.
the business part is we didn't know what was going on. We didn't know
We
about
didn't know what that meant.
baby oil. We all wanted to be Diddy at some
But see,
point.
when I was about 11, the Notorious movie came out. So that was my introduction to who P. Diddy was. And so I'm just like, man, why be this great rapper when I could be the guy that owns the label, write the
Right.
songs? I didn't want to admit that I truly wanted to be the voice. I didn't want to say that because
Neither did
I
Diddy.
didn't want people being like, you can't rap, and then discourage me. So I would be like, I'm just gonna be a writer and then write my raps and then practice them and wouldn't tell nobody for years. And when I finally graduated high school and went to college, I think, man, we started, me and my boys, we started recording songs in the middle of class. Um, yeah, in the middle of class, my boy brought his laptop and we had some free time, senior year of high school, and we were in one of the computer labs recording. And I used to take 90 takes to get one verse. So I grew from that. And when I graduated high school, started making my own songs and competing, and won the first competition I was ever a part of. And just, I felt like this was my path to not only spread my message, but something that God put into me to cultivate and grow. So that's my origin story. I saw a lot of stuff along the way, went through a lot of things along the way, and I put that along with my heart and soul into my music.
Man, well, I'm so glad you decided to stick with it and nurture it. I checked out some of your work, and it's phenomenal work. And once again, I'm honored to have you there. But the consistencies between creatives, and it's very similar. It's always we have the shy moments. We have, we start wanting to do this. We inspire them. We become our own person, find our own identity after just taking the best of who we serve. And Tupac as an inspiration is
Huge one.
arguably, you doesn't get better than that when it comes to not only just music, but activism and, telling your story. I can argue no one in music told their story better than Tupac, especially when you think about he was only here 25 years. So you take
25 years.
that's a lot in
And
25
still talked about 30 years later.
and another 30 after that. Now,
Right.
walk us through your creative process. You mentioned, learning how to play instruments like the sax and the recorder and taking other bars and replacing them with your bars and the hard work of, getting each verse or each word and taking 90 takes to get one verse. And it takes, I tell people, especially with technology today, you can spit out a song in 2 minutes. Doesn't mean it's going to have
Man.
heart, doesn't mean it's going to have character, doesn't mean it's going to have soul, doesn't, especially soul. So walk us through your creative process. You mentioned, living gives you inspiration. What other influence besides life gives you inspiration to create your music?
I feel like I'm going to give you something I've never given anybody on any interview ever.
That's what we do.
Uh, yeah, yeah. So you're going to be the first to actually hear this. My creative process since being a Christian artist has really changed how I feel through my creative process. It doesn't stop me from being me, but I don't treat my raps like I got all the time in the world anymore.
Mhm.
And I know this is solemn to some people, but gotta hear me out. Death actually became one of the parts of my creative process. I think about if this is the last song that I ever make, what do I want people to say? What do I want people to hear? How do I want this to edify people? And for me, giving a message pointing people towards Jesus Christ is the thing that I want people to always know. Like, yeah, this was my life. Yeah, this is your life, but he's perfect. And hit glory be to God. So when I'm in my creative process, sometimes the beat comes first, sometimes the lyrics come first. Sometimes I have a message that hits my soul that has to be written right then. So I don't have time to look for the beat. I'll just write the song out. It might be 2 years before I get that thing recorded. I just had a situation like that where I wrote a song 2 years ago and I thought it was gonna be one way because I was feeling a certain way. But then, I changed my life and gave it to God. And it's like, wait a minute, I feel like I can decode what I really was supposed to say now. And so it's about the message. And when I hear a beat, I can really come up with a hook on the spot.
Right.
Um, whether you're doing it with beatboxing or just hitting a stick against the log, I can come up with a hook for that. But now it's, you know, I wait till I got this feeling. There's so much going on in the world. You can write about anything all the time, but I'm gonna talk about what hits my soul because I know there's gonna be a time for that. God didn't just put that into me to not say there's a time for that, whether it's today or tomorrow. Prime example, even before doing Christian music, there's this song on a tape that I made a few years ago called the tape's called Memnon's Baby. And I was going through the protest at the time, going through a case at the time, and talking about just my struggles, losing everything, all kinds of stuff out of the military, school, grandparents died, family members died, all kinds of stuff was breaking loose. And so I was thinking about, just how my warrior spirit had been developed. And I made a song, which was really a protest song, and it's called War. We Are Real. I wrote that song and I kept having dreams about a war. I kept having dreams about people fighting to maintain their independence, maintain their mind, body, and soul, and governments and all kinds of social media propaganda. Man, I dropped that song the next day. Russia invaded Ukraine,
It's a
and
spiritual war going on outside every day, and people don't really realize we're all chess pieces in this spiritual war, and we all, you can be a pawn, you can be a knight. It's up to you,
what you want
but
to be.
what you want to be. If you want to move on that chessboard, you better pick and play your position. And it's so incredible that you talk about, having that discernment to listen. My favorite artist of all time in all genres of music. I'm an '80s baby.
Okay.
I grew up thinking I was Michael Jackson. Sock on the hand. Mom didn't give me the curl, but sock on the hand, moonwalking in the kitchen, and to the point where I studied him.
Mm,
Every album, every interview, every piece, because I was like, how could somebody he started at
5.
and died at 50 years is nothing on this planet, and put 10 lifetimes worth, and he wasn't as prolific as a Tupac or a Prince. He was such a perfectionist. He only had so many solo albums, but almost every album is prolific. And one thing I noticed, and I like to ask everyone this, he said that he doesn't write, he doesn't produce, he just listens. He's
Yeah.
a vessel. And you mentioned something and that's why I'm bringing it back around. He said sometimes he'll just get something, and
Yep.
at 4 in the morning, you got to get up and write it down. And sometimes
Happens
he
to
would
me
get
often.
up in the studio and have to record it right there. And
Yep.
he said, if I don't do it Prince is going to get it because he believes that we're just radios. God is the frequency.
Yep.
And when it tunes in perfectly, we get this creative, perfect song or perfect beat or perfect whatever. But if you waste it, he's going to send it to his next child or next messenger. How do you feel about that theory, that Michael?
It's very true. I feel like um people, oh man, how much time you got?
What you need, brother?
I we are electrical currents from the top of our heads down to our hearts, down to our feet. And when you are an electrical current in motion and made of water and all of these things, there's a conductivity. Getting a little scientific, but to think that your music doesn't come from somewhere is kind of overlooking how special life really is, because it kind of reminds me of like radio towers or cell phones. Who told those people that there was waves in the air,
Right.
frequencies in the air, numbers in the air, things that could transfer and you could count that up and it actually makes a message that we can read to the point where we can do what we do right now?
Absolutely.
That alone proves what Michael was saying on a spiritual level. It's very true. Whatever spirit you open yourself up to, that's what you're receiving from. If that's Yahweh, if that's God, okay, that's who you getting your messages from. If that's Oshun, Ogun, some other God, whatever, that's who you getting your messages from. And it plays out in your music. It plays out in how you carry yourself. It's going to live itself out through you. So
Absolutely.
when I heard him say that, I knew exactly what he was talking about. I'll never forget a situation with one of my boys, and he recently got signed, where he was talking about the kind of chain he wanted. And he was like, I want this kind of chain with this kind of baguettes, this and that. And I was like, shoot, you better write that down. I said, somebody else gonna mess around and have it. And he was like, shoot, I ain't gonna let nobody even hear it. Man, it was a week later, kid you not, Quavo from the Migos was wearing exactly what he described. And he
Yeah.
was talking about it was a new chain for him. And I was like, it was in the waves, man. It was in the air.
Radio waves, you didn't pick you picked it up, but you
You
turned
picked
the
it up.
channel.
Yeah, I was like, that right there. I said, see what I'm telling you? So when Michael Jackson said that, I understood what he meant. Him and Prince were both chasing the same unicorn,
Yeah,
and it made sense. I'm pretty sure some of the reasons that Prince's music even sounds to me more vulgar than Mike's is because those were songs that Mike didn't pick up. Mike
absolutely.
was out first.
That wasn't his frequency.
It wasn't his frequency,
Wasn't
but
his,
it
it
was
was the
Prince.
energy he wanted to put in the world. And then as Prince started to mature and find God, even his
Oh
music,
man.
to the point where he didn't even want to perform his older stuff because he felt that wasn't him anymore. And I can only respect that.
Only.
We only evolved. I'm like I said, I'm a comic book fan, so I tell people life is like Dragon Ball Z, and we're literally trying to evolve into our final form so
Yep.
we can get to the next level. And that
Right.
I always associated back to comic books. Now, besides the music artist and being a creative, you do podcasts and now it's funny. I've been doing this since 2019. 2019
Okay.
first 2019 was my first episode. It was like three podcasters out there. Uh so much so that I did it on a phone. That was all the equipment I had was a phone and me speaking into the phone. And then 6 years later, 7 years later, you got equipment and cameras and networks and things of that nature. But now you see every rapper from
Everybody.
1990 on has a podcast. Every athlete from 1990 on has a podcast, and it makes it difficult for people who are fame or notoriety. It's just from podcasting. You're competing in the field with someone that has 20,000 points in the NBA. And,
Right.
it's on people's posters on the wall. It makes a crowded field, but it's enough for everybody. How has the podcasting journey been for you? I love talking to fellow podcasters. How's that journey been for you? And do you feel you get another form of creativity from it? Because I feel it helps sedate some of my creative desires or needs just by speaking with people and sharing stories.
Man, so as a podcaster, I have grown to be more compassionate to other creatives by listening to their stories. And see, kind of like how your platform runs, the BT5 series, we focus on, the urban community and the creatives, entrepreneurs, the movers and the shakers there within. And the cool part about it is I get to hear people who might have a different background from me, might not have the same beliefs as me, but I get to listen to this person talk about how they feel, what they got going on, their process, who they are, and what they trying to become, and what they think about certain topics going on in the world. And it opens up the space for me to talk and have this conversation that normally we would not have.
Right.
And I have grown to be more welcoming of the conversation. It's taught me to not only check some of my personal convictions and emotions when dealing with other people, but to um just be an ear. And I love that.
Yeah.
I mean, I really get the chance to connect with people, and they also get introduced to me.
Yeah.
And I think it's wonderful. I can't wait to see it hit 1 million views one day. I can't wait for, more people in the world to know about it. But until that time, I'm enjoying just the connections and the people that have, supported and followed and shared. Love them all. I appreciate it. Even with now in the space with these people with 20,000 points in the NBA and millions of dollars in the bank account, look, our voices are going to reach who it's supposed to reach.
Absolutely.
It's gonna work.
That was the answer I was looking for. That was the 100%. Because a lot of people say, how do you still do it? All this competition. I'm like, it's no competition. It's just me. It's just me trying to be 1% better than I was yesterday. And
Man, I ran track.
yeah, at
It's
the
the
end of the
same
year,
way.
I'm not a mathematician, but that's 365% better. That means I'm 3 times better than I was just the start of the year ago. And if you take that attitude, just plug it away, you can't lose. You can't lose. And I also
No.
find the quickest path to empathy is talking and listening to other people.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest thing I know I have personally on this journey is I didn't realize I had sympathy, but I had no idea what empathy was. I had no idea
Yeah.
putting myself in the shoes. And no matter our stories, wherever it differs, there's always something that brings us back. And this is the same. This is the same. And once you
Yeah.
do that, how can you hate someone? How can you hate on someone when you're like, we're literally in the same river.
Yep.
We're running the same race on a different horse, and that's the cool part. So let's talk about the future. What do we have coming next for Etano?
So
What can the people look forward to?
February 28th, y'all. February 28th, I'm releasing my next single, which is Luke 9:23. And I want you guys to check this out, hear where I'm coming from, be blessed by the track. I'm telling a story and I'm keeping it real. This is not Christian rap that you're used to, but it's still very much the gospel. Um, I want y'all to know, just it's okay to pick up your cross and follow Jesus. It's okay to change your life. It's okay to want to change your life and not know how to do it at first. So that's coming out on Bandcamp. It's gonna be $1 for download. I am rebelling against the streaming platforms right now because it takes 333 streams for me to get $1. Or you could just buy the track for $1. And which don't get me wrong, I've been praying on this a lot and I already know when the time comes, which it won't be that soon, but there will be a time where there will be a music video and you will be able to receive it on all streaming platforms. But for those of us who support real creatives, being able to benefit not only from their music, but just from the work that is put in to even make it happen, I ask that you support me, just that $1. And then it's yours. You can stream it, turn it to a ringtone, flip it, turn it, twist it. I don't care, but it's yours when you do that. Um, we got I'm hosting an event. Next week it's Isekai Nights. It's an anime night. In Raleigh, North Carolina. I am your host, and it'll also be on the 28th. I'm sorry, that will be on the 27th. That'll be on the Friday, and in Richmond, Virginia, I'll be hosting an audition for the Chance to Star Music Festival as well. And man, I'll be on a media tour next week. So
You're in
got
my
that.
neck of the
March
woods.
14th, got a whole nother audition in Raleigh, North Carolina for creatives out there, dancers, cypher artists. Come on, man. All genres, come on. Everybody that participates, they leave with something, even if it's a connection that they can benefit from in the long term.
And I love it. And in this industry, it really is about connections. And I can't let you go without dropping that gem. 3 years ago, every season we have a theme. This season is legacy, and so that's why I asked about the future plans. Last year was artificial intelligence, tool, or is it the destruction of creativity? 2 years ago, we did direct to consumer because I was
Hmm.
wave a long time ago. I've been making music since 1987 as a child. Um, ne- Never, not living in New York or California. I'm from Virginia. Living in one of these areas, even though we have, some of the greats, your Pharrells, your Timberlands, your Missy, Pusha T, No Malice or Malice, Christopher. We have a ton of legends, but it still didn't seem real that you could do out. Oh, maybe I don't have the look, or maybe I don't have the voice. And
Yeah.
then you had to realize that there's more than just being in front of the camera. And you mentioned that, writing, producing, the business side. And I say that to say this: direct to consumer is the wave. That's why J. Cole is driving around with $1 CDs in the trunk of his car.
Yep.
That's why Cardi B was doing the same thing.
Yep.
That's why Even Biz, who partners with us, um, has been established. An artist like La Russell, who we had on the show 3 or 4 years ago, and now he's at the Super Bowl with that independent drive. And everything I said is coming to light. That's not me. That was God who put it on my
That's
heart.
God who put it on your heart.
These stream these streaming platforms have devalued music.
Yes.
As an 80s baby, I valued going to the record store, picking a CD up, putting it in my car, or Discman or whatever, reading the credits.
Yep.
And even if 3 songs were good out of 15, you own that. That's yours. I still have those CDs in the trunk of my storage facility somewhere, but you own that. Now you're paying a subscription. The artists are getting nothing, pennies. If you have a manager, a record label, by the time they take their cut, you could still be in the red.
Exactly.
You're better off getting a small business loan and doing it yourself. In place like Even Biz and Bandcamp, I truly, truly feel they're doing it right for the artists.
Yes.
So I'm glad you mentioned that direct to consumer is the wave. You can still use streaming as advertisement if you want, but if you think you're going to be able to eat off of streaming, unless you have a machine behind you, it's almost impossible. But you can sell 10,000 $1 singles
Yep.
and make more than an artist who sold 2 million.
Yep.
So I'm so glad that it's coming. A lot of people thought I was psychopath, but now uh they see, they're like, oh, you're a prophet. I'm not a prophet. I just look at
Paid
evil
attention.
and paid attention to the market. So I'm so glad you're doing. I'm a big fan of Bandcamp. And like I said, you can sell your whole CD for $1. You're gonna make more than you'll ever do on one of these streaming platforms. And the people
Exactly.
will have that community. And building that community is what will allow you to live. 10,000 people is all you need, ladies and gentlemen. There's
That's it.
billion people on this earth. If you can get 10,000 people to support your art and say, I'm going to spend $1 with you a month, What if they do $5?
Exactly.
What if they do $20? That's
I
even in this economy, $20. It's that simple. It's basic math. So I'm all for the independent artists. That's why we have platform record labels every day try to send me some larger audience artists, and I refuse them every time because my integrity. They don't need me. It's people like Etano that need people to get behind and get the word and say what you're doing is not only worthy, but help drop the knowledge that I was blessed with. So I'm so glad you're on that path. I'm so glad to talk to you today. It's been a pleasure. I went
Absolutely.
overtime, but I don't care. We go overtime today. That's fine. Before we go, please let the people know where they can find you on social media, any platforms. You've already given some very important dates. The floor is yours.
So everybody, and I appreciate you if you made it to the end of this interview. You can follow me on Instagram at Brass OT and the number 9. That's Brass OT9. It has my old name before I became Etano. I was under Brass for years. Um, Follow me, check out the events. I post everything on Instagram. You can find me on Facebook under Brass X Etano, and I also keep people updated there. I'm on TikTok at Etano OT9, so not Brass up there, but Etano OT9. And guys, just walk with me. Walk with me. Walk with me. If you're not sure about your life or what you want to do with it, walk with me. That's all I'm saying. Just walk with me, support me, and I'm somebody who believes in giving back to the same people that gave to me. So, you show me love, I show you love, and if you don't show love, I'm still gonna show love because that's what I'm made of. I'm made of love, and I'm here to spread love, and I'm here to spread the gospel. I'm here to spread the message. That's what I'm serious about, and I'm still growing. I'm not perfected in every way by any means of the word, but I'm willing to try, and I'm willing to make music that speaks for people who are willing to try too.
Mm. I couldn't say it better myself. Brother, blessings to you. Blessings on this path. I'm loving it. Keep up the good work. Keep up, reaching out to people. Hopefully one day uh, we can do something. I love
Oh
to
yeah,
share something on your podcast. And welcome to the family. Like I said, the D.E.N is an acronym. It stands for Dreams and Nightmares. Because I was in a
mm,
very, very dark place when I started this show, going through divorce, the beginning of a pandemic. People were like dropping left and right,
yeah,
isolation, and this allowed me to reach people. And now, 6 years later, thousands of contacts later, um, I know everything happens for a reason,
I'm
and
telling you.
that's why we're brought in each other's lives. So, brother, blessings to you. Nothing but continued success on your journey, your path, your music, your podcast, everything you're doing. We appreciate you stopping in the Den, sharing your words and sharing your wisdom with us. And for those watching at home, please do me a favor. Of course, we're going to put all his links if you're looking on YouTube. Please do me a favor, follow, subscribe, check out his music, check out his art. Go ahead and support the independent artist. Direct to consumer is the way. Until them record labels and stream yards want to pay the people and stop devaluing our art, it's going to be direct to consumer
Yep.
here. So that's the way we do it. And I thank you, brother, again for joining us.
Man, I appreciate you for having me, man. Glad to
God,
be a part of the Den.
yes, sir. Den for life.
Yeah,
And as
yeah.
every episode, you know how we do. It's your brother Mars. It's all about peace, love, unity, and respect. We out of here, deuces. And we're